Good people, what's going on? Welcome to episode 98, man. The Dome Podcast, man. Been around for a couple of years, man. I really appreciate the support and the love, man, whether it's on YouTube, X, or whatever, man. But today, got one of my homies, you know what I'm saying, long time overdue, the dope MC, Easy Money. What's good, player?
Peace and love, world. What's the word, man? Tone, I'm happy to be here. It's an honor. We always
Happy to have you.
Always, yeah, appreciate it. Always have a good talk elsewhere. Glad to finally have it here. And I like, we overdo, but I like that we number 98 because 98 was a great year for hip hop. So
it was an amazing year. It's probably one of the top 5 years of hip hop as well. We'll get to some of that in a minute too, man. I got some current affairs and some other things to talk about, but I want to say this real quick, E. So I've been on Twitter now probably 12 years or whatever, and obviously over the years, man, my name and stuff kind of grew and stuff like that. And what I'm only saying that because as time went on, a lot of people started sending me music in my inbox, right? And I always try to respond back. I listen to it. I post some of the joints that I do, like over the years or whatever. And I remember somebody had said something about you. We started following each other years ago, and somebody put me onto your music. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, dude, nice. And then when you had finally sent me a full project years ago, I was like, okay, wait a minute now. Okay, he's just not like a dude that be on Twitter, because I wasn't always familiar with you yet. It's like, okay, he's not one of the dudes who aspiring rapper just trying to find his way on Twitter and sending joints and whatever. Oh no, this dude a legit MC, like for real. Like I knew you was good, bro, but I'm not gonna lie. Up until a couple of years ago, I didn't know you was that good. I was like, okay, wait a minute, he's a real lyricist, real bars, dope flow, dope voice, dope production. And I was like, man, you became one of my favorite cats on the joint too. You know what I'm saying? So that, man. Absolutely. You know, we've been on other podcasts together. We've talked before and all that stuff, man. But I'm really glad to have you on today to talk about 01830. We got to talk about the significance of that. But before that, man, you know, we do share some of the same people that follow us, stuff like that, but not everyone. So I want to kind of start from the beginning real quick, man. You've been from Massachusetts, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm from Haverhill, Massachusetts.
So man, growing up, bro, because I'm a little older than you, growing up, man, like talk to me about some of the inspiration with hip hop, man. Who are the MCs, producers early on when you was maybe a short, like a teenager or whatever, that got you into it? And then who made you really want to become a spitter? You know what I'm saying?
So we'll go back. You know, hip hop has always, you know, been aimed at us, directed to us, and spoken to us. Well, you know, as long as we can remember, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And then you know, I notice a lot of cats, especially on Twitter, they try to act like they were these big hip hop heads at 7 years old.
Yeah.
Like, yo, it's okay to admit that you liked MC Hammer, bro. If you were fucking 8 years
I love Hammer, but go ahead.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, these dudes act like, oh, I never liked that shit. You lying. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would, you pay attention to it through the mainstream. And then, you know, I got older brothers and, you know, back in the day, you know, we would record cassettes.
Facts.
Of the mix shows and all that. You know what I'm saying? You know, we showing our age here.
Yeah.
So my older brothers would always play, you know, where I'm from, Emerson College, 88.9 in Boston. They don't even do it anymore.
Okay.
88.9 at night was a hip hop show. So they would play all the underground. And my brothers would play cassettes in the crib. And, you know, the shit really moved me. And one thing that I noticed was that it was a lot grittier than what you heard on the mainstream. Like on the mainstream, you know, you would hear polished shit, you know, even back then, the mainstream stuff was hip hop.
Yeah, it was.
It was just more, you know, radio friendly, commercial, more polished.
Yeah,
the shit sounded grittier, and it just pulled me in a little more. Right, these are like my real young years, because I remember this is like I'm probably like just hitting double digits, and these are my older brothers. Fast forward, my brother-in-law, he's originally from Brooklyn. My sister's husband. And when I was like in the range of 14, 15 years old, my sister would have me come to her crib and keep an eye on my niece while they would go out. Now, my brother-in-law had every CD imaginable.
Right.
Every mixed cassette imaginable, bro. So I would just sit there on the floor, on the rug, and go through everything, reading credits, all that.
That was a big thing back then, reading the credits,
Yes,
bro.
but that was when it was that era. That was when my fascination began.
Now, who was
I
in that
became
era at that
obsessed
time?
with it. What was that?
Who was in that era during that time? You 14, 15, whatever. When you was reading the
So
credits, reading
when I'm 15, we'll say 15, right? That is the 15 is 90. Nah, it's before 15. Because 15, I'm 15 in 97. It was more like 95. Because I remember vividly, like, the Purple Tapes, the Infamous, the Jealous Ones,
yeah,
and shit like that. Smooth the Hustler was, I believe, 95, 96.
Hey, look, Smooth the Hustler was 95. That's that joint that Broken Language and all that was Smooth the Hustler.
Once upon a time in America. Once upon a time in America, yeah. So that was in that era, and that we would just call it the mid 90s.
Yeah,
when all that shit was booming. Mr. Smith, LL Cool J, Ready to Die was out, but it had been out. You understand what I'm saying? But Biggie ran 95. It was it was.
Hey, pause for a second. Listen, I was trying to explain the other day about Ready to Die came out winter 94. 95 was Biggie's year. The reason why he won all the awards on Source magazine, but he also had all those singles. One More Chance remix, Juicy, you know what I'm saying? Warning, all the joints were put. That's when he was popping up. And then the total joints and R&B joint. I try to tell everybody 95 was big year. 94 was Snoop.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what it is, right? First of all, on Twitter, everybody knows everything. Right? You weren't born, you weren't there, but you just know.
Right,
So what happens is you go on your Google and you see Ready to Die was released in 94. So then you just say Biggie ran 94. What you don't know is that what you don't know was back then singles burned for months at a time. So when you drop 3 or 4 of them, your albums were holding on to that shit for over a year. Sometimes more. You understand what I'm saying? So when you go into 95, Biggie dropped late 94. You go into 95, One More Chance remix was the biggest shit.
And I was throwing parties, bro.
That's when it was solidified. One More Chance remix.
It was on radio and in the club. Yeah.
Right? And at this time I'm 13, so I don't have the hip hop knowledge that I do now, but I was there. I seen it.
Yeah.
I seen it. Parties, bro. So it's like, it's for the people listening, like, yo, it's okay to not know everything, man.
I swear.
I still be asking questions. Like, I'll hop on 5B with y'all. Shout out to Kill and everybody.
Shout out
and whenever it gets into some shit where they start talking about Ultramagnetic and Kane and Ra, I'm like, yo, I went back and I revisited and I learned it and I researched it, but I wasn't there in real time. So I just asked, yo, what was it like?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that easy. Let me say this real quick because I remember about 2 years ago, my homie R.A. the Rugged Man was on the podcast, and we was talking about it's okay to ask questions about music in general because, like, for example, Marvin Gaye is my favorite singer, right? What's Going On is my favorite album. 1972, I wasn't born yet. I was born in 75. I'm 50 years old, but I wasn't born yet. I'm older, but not compared to Motown fans, right? I had to talk to my dad, my uncle, and older cousins, give me some knowledge on how it was when I asked my dad, how was it when Marvin Gaye dropped What's Going On? How was it when Stevie Wonder dropped Intervision? Because I was born in 75, so I missed that. I had to catch on in the mid-'80s when I was able to understand music and things of that nature. And like you said, people in a rush to be first. They want to rush to be, to get views, but not in a rush to be right and accurate with information. It's okay to ask because, like you said, you've been with me and Kill close. We pretty much the same age. We was around when Ultramatic MCs came out and when Rakim and all them was rocking and popping off and stuff like that. We was around. So to that point, there's nothing wrong with that. So going back to mid-'90s, for example, and you with your brother-in-law's crib and all that, was it a particular MC outside of Biggie? I know it was in Brooklyn. Well, and him too. Was it certain MCs and certain albums and stuff at that time started inspiring you?
Well, the thing was this, though, right? When I was that age, I didn't really start like rhyming.
Okay.
But what inspired me, what I was inspired by was culture.
Yeah.
Hip hop culture, the way we spoke, the way we dressed, the way we just moved in general. That's a big inspiration. I feel like that gets overlooked because I feel like when inspiration is always attached to, a certain name, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just culture in general really influenced me. But I can tell you the exact moment that I said to myself,
okay,
damn, I might want to be a rapper because I would dabble. But when Big Pun dropped a song and he said Boricua Morena,
oh yeah,
that was a turning point for me where I was like, wow,
that makes sense because your culture.
Exactly. That's what makes, that's it was crazy because like you would see, we would hear, music videos were big back then, but like it was accessible, but when you're like underground, that's not accessible.
That's
so
right.
you're not putting faces to names right away, right? We had the Source magazines, but you got to remember those were backed up.
They were,
right? Everything wasn't real time. It just wasn't like that. So I would remember seeing, like, obviously I was already familiar with Fat Joe.
right?
I'm looking at Fat Joe. I'm like, yo, this dude looks Spanish.
Yeah,
I remember that. This dude looks Spanish. And then being around my cousins, yo, he Puerto Rican, yada yada yada, boom boom boom. Drop that Funk Flex freestyle where I think this is where Pun. I believe this is where Pun was introduced. This is '95. The Ice Cream beat, Funk Flex Volume 1.
Oh, I remember that joint.
Okay,
it was crazy.
That's the first time I heard Pun.
A lot of cats hadn't heard Pun yet.
And I can't forget it because my cousins played it 45,000 fucking times in a row. Right? So Big Pun, the way I describe him now is Pun was the original AI. He didn't sound human to me.
Hey, let me interject 1 second and say one thing, brother. I had gone to the record store and I bought this soundtrack called Soul in the Hole. I bought Soul in the Hole and Pun song on there, You Ain't a Killer. Now, You Ain't a Killer ended up being on Capital Punch, but when I heard You Ain't a Killer, first of all, Soul in the Hole is an amazing hip-hop soundtrack.
Super classic.
Amazing. Every track on there is just amazing. But when I heard the Pun joint, it took me to some old G-rap shit, man. Like, it was monstrous, right? And just what he was saying. And which leads me to when I end up hearing the joints he did with Beat Nuts and all that stuff like that. And then when I heard Capital Punch, we'll get into that. But so Pun, go back to Pun real quick. That's one of the ones, the relatability. That's one of the ones that kind of inspired you. Easy, is that what you're saying?
Correct. So I was already familiar with Pun. I had heard You Ain't a Killer was on the mixtapes. So
yeah, okay.
like I said, the people around me played that freestyle a million times.
Ice Cream,
You Ain't a Killer probably got more burn. I remember You Ain't a Killer was on a Tony Touch tape, cassette tape, where you had to press the button to rewind it.
Facts.
And you had to press play, and you ain't get there yet. You had to keep going.
Yeah.
Past it, and you gotta forward it. Bro, this is crazy.
Yeah.
These kids, like my kids don't even know. They can't even grasp the idea of that. So Facts. You Ain't a Killer. That was the other thing, because I had heard the freestyle. Then You Ain't a Killer. Now, mind you, I had heard Jealous One's Envy. Yeah, but I'm not putting it all together. That this is
that's right. He was on there. Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think I don't know if it's the I don't know which video it is, but Pun is in one of Joe's videos, one of Joe's old videos, and one of the older cats. I was like, yo, that's him.
He was on. Yeah, he was on that joint where everybody was on that video. He's walking across the street with him. It's the video.
Is it Success or is it
it's Success. He's on.
Is it Success? Okay.
Because Success got everybody on it, but Pun was walking across the street like he was going to a bodega or something with Joe. They was walking across the street. Yeah.
So now mind you, like not you identify with it because they look like me. So that was one thing. But that was the optic. But hearing it, and hearing the Boricua on the record. Right. You understand what I'm saying? And not only hearing Boricua, because we've heard it. We heard Boricua's on the set had already came out. It was just the way that Joe sang it that made it stick.
It was a sense of pride for you too, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. So that was a turning point where I'm like, yo, fuck around with this. I wasn't really like making songs or nothing at this point. I had no access to studio or no money. But, rhyming, So shout out to my man, my brother Terminology. I started in a group with Terminology. A lot of people don't even know this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so him and I started as a group. It was
Okay,
Streets.
I absolutely didn't know that, bro.
Speaking through Raw Epilogue at In Term. This is when I used to go by Ed Rock. I wasn't even Easy Money yet.
Got you. Okay.
I didn't even put it this way. I didn't even have a rap name. Just some dude that I went to. You know, back in the day was everything Rock. Yo, Tone Rock, Ed Rock.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So somebody had called me that in middle school, and I was like, oh, whatever, call me Ed Rock type shit, right? Come to find out later, Ed OG was originally Ed Rock. I didn't even know that because I just knew
Ed OG from Boston.
Exactly. So, you know, I had to have that conversation with him. Yo, I ain't know, my bad. You know, I was just a kid.
Oh, you met him?
Oh yeah, Ed OG's a big homie. He's always
very
super
underrated, amazing MC in his time frame, man. Be a father to your child. I got to have it. I'm sorry, man. You know I'm a hip hop nerd. So let me go.
Ed OG's super legendary. You know, he's pretty much like when you think of Boston hip hop, right?
Hey, look, he did that song called Boston with Pete Rock, and I still play it.
Bro. Even that shit he did with the saying something with Premier, that shit was super legendary.
No question. He's a dope MC, man. Shout out to Ed OG, man, for sure.
Big shout out to Ed OG. But yeah, man, you know, like that. Those were the things that kind of like when you start honing your skills. Like, you know, Term had a lot of records and a record player, and you know, them B-sides with the instrumentals.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the majority of them shits, you know, the majority of them B-sides in the 90s, DJ Premier.
Absolutely.
You had a big hit record, that was your A side.
Yep.
You wanted to stay in tune with the streets. You went to Premier.
Even Biggie did it.
Everyone did it.
Everybody did it.
Everybody did it. So, you know, I remember I rhymed over so many fucking Premier instrumentals, bro. Crazy. You know, and it's crazy.
Let me ask you this real quick. Let me ask you this, going back to Pun real quick, because I know he's one of the inspirations or whatever. What did you think when you heard Capital Punishment? Let me say this real quick. I went to the record store, man. I think it's 98. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of college now and all this stuff. So I go to the record store because I spend all my money on Tuesdays. Back then, young people, on Tuesdays, we spent all our money on music, everything.
It was Tuesday. Yep.
And I went and got the Pun album. I already heard You Ain't the Killer. I already heard You Ain't a Player, you know, all that stuff, like, you know, his singles or whatever. I put the album in, and the first track, Beware, came on. And I'm riding with the joint on loud and easy. I'm not going to lie to you. Only about 3 or 4 times in my life, my hair stood up on my arm. Yeah. When the beat dropped on Beware, and he said, what you thought Pun shit was sweet, now you can't sleep and all. And I was like, am I hearing this? Is this that dude from Fat Joe Camp? And I was just like, and I got through the whole album, and I was absolutely amazed at that's one of the best lyrical performances.
The
penmanship and hip hop history, man. So when you heard that, already knowing the pride and stuff with Joe and Pun and Terror Squad and all that, how did you feel when you heard Capital Punishment, and did that make you want to write even more?
So Capital Punishment, I remember listening to Capital Punishment, and I remember listening to Beware. And, you know, rest in peace, Prodigy. He's probably the most sampled voice.
I would agree with that.
In the history of the shit, you know. So, you know, that pulls you in right away, right? There was it wasn't even expectation, because you got to remember, I'm a 16-year-old kid, 98, I'm 16. It wasn't an expectation. It was a guarantee. I know this shit is going to deliver.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind, this shit is going to deliver. So when you listen to that first shit, physically, lyrically, hypothetically, realistically, I'm the pit, and you're like, it's just confirmation, right? And I still feel this way to this day, right? And I always say, I like to always establish there's a difference between who's better and who's greater. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think anybody raps better than Pun did on Capital Punishment.
And look,
I still
bro,
feel that way. And they tell me, oh, but you biased because you Puerto Rican. I'm like,
no. You're not biased, bro. You're not
no, but that's what I get all the time. You know what I mean? But
no, that's not biased.
The thing was this, though, right? This is the thing.
That's not biased.
So the vocab. Okay, so Pun, like when Pun raps, like, how do I say this without sounding like mean? You know, when you go to the underground rap parties and the white boys get in your ear and they be like blah 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 blah, but they just sound annoying. Pun rapped like he was very wordy. His vocab was broad, but he sounded cool. A lot of dudes that rap wordy like that don't sound cool.
And you know what's funny? Cause me and Mickey Fax was talking about this last time he was on. Was talking about rapping and rap don't always mean dope, right? You know what I'm saying? But with pun, for example, so you're not. I'm gonna say this real quick. You're not biased. Years ago, I said that there was 5 or 6 performances in hip hop history where I thought was flawless lyrically and everything, and pun was one of them because that's one of the best displays of rapping that you'll ever hear. I said pun on Capital Punishment. I said Most Def on Black on Both Sides. I said Big on Life After Death. I said of course Nas on Illmatic, and a couple of other people. I thought that their performances was as great as it can be. I think G-Rap on 456 is one of my favorite performances as far as lyrically and stuff like that. And definitely, man, with pun, when I got to the end of that album, I was like, this is one of the best displays of an MC that I can imagine. And I still feel like that to this day. And I've heard a lot of dope albums. And I'm not one of them guys stuck in the 90s where I thought there's not any amazing albums in the 2000s, because that's not even true. You know what I'm saying? But his still stands the test of time as one of the best. And I don't know if we'll ever hear too many people. He was so worried but proficient at the same time. Kind of like when I think of E1999 Eternal with Bone Thugs, for example, or Twister. Some of these guys might rap and it's rapid, but man, when I tell you it's clear and precise, Pun was a precise lyricist, man. So I'm not mad at him being the person who, or one of the people who inspired. Anybody else inspired you leading up to you starting to write rhymes?
I want to add something to that though.
Thanks. Go ahead.
How many MCs that rap like that, right, went double platinum?
Oh,
special. That's what it just further proves how special, because you got to remember, right, Pun is, you know, a direct branch from the Cool G rap tree. Cool
Absolutely.
G took the style and enhanced it, right?
Yeah.
Cool G rap, I think, like Pun, gets, you know, he gets disrespected a lot because he didn't really reach that. He didn't get that mainstream to that.
The ones of us that know, we know.
Yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is, like, you know, I feel like to be in these conversations, that's kind of inevitable, or you get slept on.
That's
true.
You
understand what I'm saying?
It's true.
But
it's true.
Pun double plat.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a lot, bro. There's not a lot of people rapping that way. That's going double plat. I can't think of nobody, bro. Right? What makes a lot of guys, like, you know, what makes a lot of like rappers, the ones who connect, X, Pac, 50 Cent, guys like that, is they're not that complex, easy to digest.
Yeah.
Pun was the opposite. Pun was complex.
Very.
Pun's vocab was crazy. His punchlines, metaphors was crazy. Everything was crazy, and people still loved him, man. You know what I mean? So that just goes to say.
Yeah.
But if you want to know, like, my so I have a lot of influences, right? So I go to, you know, my main 2 influences when you talk cadence, we're gonna say, I want to say Pun, but I gotta say Cool G rap, right?
Yeah.
I gotta say Cool G rap.
Executioner right? Style.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta say Cool G rap because it's
Pun. He's the father.
You say Pun is G rap and Jadakiss in regards to the cadence, the way that, you know, flow, how I rap, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Biggie. So when you talk about Big, right? Big is my favorite of all time.
Okay.
We talk about Big, you can't categorize his style. You can't really, like, how do I put this? Okay, so let's take Jadakiss, for example. Jadakiss, one of the strongest voices, one of the strongest flows ever. But he sounds the same on everything, if we're keeping it real. Right? Okay.
You know what to expect.
Yeah, exactly. Biggie was the complete opposite. You ain't know where he was going. Right? So when you listen to my music, you're going to hear the heavy influences, but you're going to hear other shit. And that's inspired by Big. Big also Big also inspires, like, when you take Big, Heavy D, when you
Yeah,
when you when you, when you
absolutely.
aim to the ladies, and I mean shit like that.
And Heavy D was dope too, by the way. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
when you talk character, charisma, I pull some of that from Jay-Z, right? Depth, you pull that from Nas.
Yeah.
That and it's more like, so it's like there's two guys that I draw from in regards to being conceptual. It's Nas and it's Guru. Guru was very conceptual,
He
right?
was.
Gangstar Moment of Truth just celebrated an anniversary, what, yesterday or the day before? Just celebrated the anniversary.
Moment of Truth. The Moment of Truth.
Yeah, that album right there,
Flawless.
super duper inspirational to me, because when I
Okay.
would listen to this body of work, I'm like, yo, this guy, everything was conceptual. Like every topic, like there was direction every record, right? And he did a great job of staying there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, he did.
The ongoing joke, how people be like, yo, Rick Ross get us on a song about women and talk about lemon pepper wings, right? A lot of rappers, they do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Ross fan, but I'm just saying, you've seen the joke.
Yeah, Guru stayed on task, and also because his family were educators, he was a smart man.
Yep.
So if he did something like JFK to LAX or Above the Clouds and all that, he stuck with what he rhymed about, or he told a story. It's not going to deviate from what he's talking about.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, and Moment of Truth, to your point, it's good to hear you bring that up, bro, because it's probably one of the greatest and most underrated rap albums ever. I mean, it's a flawless, beautiful album with production and rhymes and everything, and it's actually not talked about enough. So it's dope hearing you even bringing that up on the anniversary this week.
Yeah, I mean, and I've also, and I've said this, I've spoken to other people, and I always bring up. I told Premier, shout out to Premier, I said it to him.
Shout out to Premier.
That album really, really inspirational in that way, and Guru in general, underappreciated.
If the Unlimited Rhymes, universal.
Yeah, I always say, and it's not limited to that album. He's always conceptual, but that was an album that grabbed me at the right time and really inspired.
Yeah, he did it on Hard to Earn and Daily Operation and all.
Everywhere, yeah. So Moment of Truth. That so that, and then like I like to even with like the Beat Nuts and Tony Touch. So when I do a lot of Spanglish in my shit. Like if you go like to like 7 grams and Haffy, and it's sprinkled. I always sprinkle it throughout, but those like
I know.
I put a lot. I get that. When Tony Touch was doing the mixtapes, he would always rhyme in the beginning.
Yeah, he would.
He would always rhyme in the beginning.
Touch, man.
And he would always do the Spanglish shit.
Yep, he did. He represented.
He would always do the Spanglish, and I took from that a lot. And then the Beat Nuts came, and trying to get my grub on some thought, and they would always incorporate the Spanglish in there as well. And that was very
Beat Nuts too. They underrated.
Absolutely, Beat Nuts is legendary, bro. Like,
yeah.
Listen, I listen to Street Level to this day, and that shit just gets better.
It's a dope album, man.
That shit just gets better every time I hear it. You know what I'm saying? But like, and these are the people that when I tell you my top 5, or my top 10, I'm not telling you. I don't have the Beat Nuts and Tony Touch and Guru in there.
Right.
As much as I appreciate it, but direct inspiration.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Even
inspiration
Mace
don't have to be the best. That's not,
even Mace. Mace I fuck with Mace heavy. What I picked up from Mace was, it ain't always got to be over complex to hit, and you can still be nice with it.
And look,
they call it dumbing down, kind of, right?
But you know what? And Mace influenced you some. But think about this: you got Mace influenced Kanye, Mace influenced Fabulous, Mace influenced 50 Cent, Mace influenced a lot of people and a lot of them joked and rhymed and said stuff about Mace in their rhymes early in their career. You know what I'm saying? Because they recognize that that he influenced a lot of flows and voice and cadences and everything, man. Like and Puff even said, I know his history, but anyway, at one point he was on the Breakfast Club. He said, "Man, the person that actually helped me the most as an artist was Mace." And Charlamagne was like, "No, it wasn't Biggie, it wasn't this person." He said, "No, Mace actually wrote for me, helped me know how to be an artist." You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. And a lot of people sleep on, they think about him leaving the game early for different reasons. And they see him on a sports show now. And they make you forget that there was a moment at the Children of the Corn and all that when Mace was really rhyming. And the Locks talked about this on the Breakfast Club years ago as Charlamagne was kind of trying to make them cats play Mace. And Styles and Kingston was like, nah, Murder was nasty. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get it to it. So it's cool.
I got, you know, and you know, you can stream it these days, but I remember I have my brother-in-law had all them cassettes with them Flex freestyles with Locks and the Maces on Flex.
I had them.
You know, I've always thought that Puff's best verses came from Mace's pen.
I believe that for sure.
Right. And the other thing was what I always say, I feel like the way that Puff marketed and packaged Mace, as genius as it made him a star, it was his gift and his curse.
It was.
Right? Because you putting a shiny suit on him, you presenting him as this lovable cat, and but nobody's putting this guy as in their top 10. Nobody's calling him the King of New York for those reasons, for the same reasons.
And at one moment, there was a quick moment after Big died during the year 97, because we know, I always tell people, Big died in spring 97, DMX took over in spring 98. But there was a moment in 97 where Mace was the guy.
Hell yeah.
In hip-hop, period.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is this though, right? This is the thing. This is what I always tell people. Like, yo, like what you like. Like what you like. That's okay. But don't be delusional. It don't change what happened.
You can't change what happened.
You can't like what you like. Yo, I tell people all the time, you know, and I'm just using Mace as an example because we're talking about him right now. It's easy to say, yo, I never liked Mace, but yo, he was running shit. It's that simple.
Facts are facts.
I never liked Ja Rule, but he was running shit.
Facts are facts.
That's what happened. I'm telling you. Because that's what happened. It is.
I try to tell people there's life outside of tour. I try to tell people because of my age, I'm telling for a fact, I was throwing parties down here in North Carolina, bro. And when I was throwing parties, when we threw on some damn Mace, the girls got up to dance. We threw Ja Rule on the girls because women are part of hip hop. I don't know why cats think that everybody on the wall not dancing, bro. Dancing been part of hip hop, party been part of hip hop since day one. Before Mo D and Melly Mel and all them people was dancing.
They was buying most of them records. They was pushing the culture forward.
It was important, man. You know what I'm saying? So yes, all of that matters. But let me ask you this, man. So influences real quick. I know you talking about the Beat Nuts. You talked about Pun, Big being your favorite, Mason.
I'm leaving a very important one out though.
Go ahead, let me know.
So I'm gonna go back to starting in a group with Terminology.
Okay.
We modeled our whole shit after the Mob. The whole shit was.
I can see that. I can see that.
You know, I just dropped that. You know, my latest single, Fluidity. My mind flooded with jewels and Finny.
I know.
That's the Guard P. You know, so it's like heavy. So let
me ask you this then. So you're a big Prodigy fan, right?
Super.
I'm not sure if you've seen the article I wrote, Prodigy, The Voice of New York.
I probably seen it like on, you know, because you tweet a lot. So it's hard to keep up.
I'm gonna tag you on it, man, and see what you think about it. Because if you're a big Prodigy fan, I think you'll appreciate what I wrote about him. I wrote it years ago on IntoTheDome.com. Now it's TonyTheDome.com. But yeah, it's Prodigy, The Voice of New York. So anyone hearing this, if you're a big Prodigy fan, I'm gonna repost that tonight as well, man. You check that out at your leisure, man, because that's really for Mobb Deep and Prodigy fans. I love P.
Come on, man. P's one of the best that ever did it, bro.
Love him, man. Miss him.
The most sampled voice.
Yeah,
I don't know who got more one-liners. They talk about, you know, like one-liners, opening lines, like.
Well, opening lines. If we talk about opening lines to any song, you would have to say Prodigy is right there, either at the top or close to the top of. Anytime he set a song off it was always monumental. It was always different, man. Like there's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. It's just like, you know what? Even the way he started off, Quiet Storm. I mean,
I got you started off for realness.
Every song, man. You know, Queens get the money, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
one of the best voices in hip hop history.
Oh, that's a fact. That's why I said he the voice of New York. When you think of New York, and I'm from North Carolina, I got family in New York, but I remember coming up there in the early 90s to hang out and stuff. And when I think about my cousins that still live up there and people from New York, and I think about Prodigy and his voice, he's the perfect New York rapper.
Yeah.
With the voice, the vibe,
really he embodied, consistently embodied New York.
He really did, man. Like rest in peace to P, man. And shout out to Mobb Deep and people know already. Mobb Deep, just like the Locks, had a lot of connection and people they was cool with the family down here in North Carolina. So I've hung out with a lot of these guys, man. And Big Noah at one point, man, used to come down to North Carolina and kick it with some of my fam. So shout out to Big Noah, man. We smoked one night and talked hip hop all night, and he had a tape of like 3 songs from It Was Written before it came out. And I've told the story, I think with Killing Them maybe before. But yeah, shout out to Mobb Deep, shout out to Big Noah, man. That was some good times in the 90s, man, back in my college and partying and throwing parties and shit days, man. But look, let's get to 01830. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That is correct.
So the new album, man, I know you was with Status Selector spitting a dope rhyme the other day. I saw that joint the other day, man. And again, every time I seen you doing freestyles, you always murder it, you know what I'm saying? So that is what it is. And I know there was some promo for
the album. Why, though? You know why? You know why?
What's that?
Because I'm supposed to.
You're supposed to. It's a fact.
You can't go up there in front of all them people, all them ears, and stink up the place. You can't do that.
Yeah, well, no, you don't have that. You don't have that problem, bro. So you've had a lot of projects over the years, man. But with this one right here, what I want to do, man, I want to go through the songs, man. Like, really, of course, I'm gonna say this real quick. And people who follow me know I always talk about the importance of an intro and the importance of an outro of an album. For me, that is just so. Man, I love that. It means a lot to me the way when the last song on the album, when I turn that thing off, it gives me a memory of everything I've listened to. And the last song on your album is dope, and we're going to talk about that too. But start with the intro. I know it was more or less just getting the vibe of the album going. What made you put the beat together just for the intro? You know what I'm saying? Like, was there something in particular that made you say, this is how I want it to sound, or what?
So I want to back up a little bit.
Okay.
So 01830 is the zip code for Haverhill, Massachusetts. That's where I'm from. Haverhill, Massachusetts is about half hour north of Boston.
Mm-hmm.
It neighbors Lawrence, Massachusetts, right? Okay. Anybody who might be familiar with Crumb Snatcher, my brother Rex, rest in peace. Rest in peace, Scientific. They're all Lawrence guys. Terminology, they're all Lawrence guys. I neighbor, like I'm like the neighbor. Haverhill's a neighbor. So that's where that comes from, right? As far as I got to give a big shout out to DJ Manipulator. He did this entire album.
Oh, I know. I was going to ask you about him, but go ahead. We'll get to him.
So DJ Manipulator, he actually produced the entire Easy and Chill album with my man Chilla Jones.
Yeah.
Now him and I have been working, for years.
Okay.
So
let's talk about him real quick. Is he from Boston?
He's from Worcester,
Massachusetts.
He's from Worcester, Massachusetts. Yep.
Okay. He's dope, man.
He's
Is he on social media?
Yeah, he is. I'm gonna link y'all on Twitter.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Dusty Manip at Dusty Manip. He's nice. He got a couple joints on Sky Zoo's latest.
Sweet. Okay.
He got like 3 on Sky Zoo's prior. He did some shit with AG from DITC recently.
Okay, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So Manip really gets busy. All the beats and all the scratches on this album were by Manipulator.
Gotcha. He nice.
So this is so first and foremost, my catalog is a mixed bag, right? I have a handful of albums, projects produced by one producer, and then a handful where it's a mix, mix.
Yeah.
I always prefer one producer.
I like that.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay, I was about to ask you.
Right, one, and I feel like this is more subconscious than anything. I'm just from that cloth. You remember back in the day? We showing our age again, right?
Show it, man. It's a blessing. Go ahead.
That's what it was. You had one producer, right? And he cooked up the whole shit.
Yeah.
Now, this is my process, my experience. This is what I believe. When you have one producer, right? Now, mind you, you have an album. You have, let's say, you have 6 producers on the album, 6 personalities, 6 egos, 6 schedules. That in itself is a headache, right? Let alone trying to get on the same page creatively.
Yep.
One producer. That's one number. One number you gotta call. Yo.
And you know what? And history has shown that it works.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, look at Gangstar. Look at P Rock, CL Smooth. I mean, we can go forever, right? So we go back to Smooth the Hustler. DR Period did that whole shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you know, Manip. So we kind of gotta go in order for me to tell the story of how the album was made. We got to go to track number 2, which is Haver's song.
That's what I'm about to go to. Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta go to Haver's song so I can come back.
You did a video for that song too.
Correct. So I dropped this. Haver's song was supposed to be a Lucy. I said to myself, I said, I ain't really done anything that's like aimed directly. I mean, I represent Haver everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I did Sway in the Morning with Haver on my hat. I did DJ Premier video with Haver on my hat. I always represented. But I never did something that was directed directly at the crib.
Yeah.
I said, I want to do something. It's supposed to be a one-off. Now, mind you, I'm thinking to myself, I'm giving you the whole creative process.
Okay.
Hip hop comes from R&B and soul, right? So, this is an entirely different conversation, but this is what kills me when these hip hop guys start crying when somebody's singing the hook. Like you just said, the whole sample from a fucking R&B song, asshole. Anyway, right?
Yeah.
So my wheels are spinning. We call Haver, we call it the Hills, right? So I'm thinking where hip hop comes from R&B, I'm gonna have more luck finding something that says heels than hills. It's gonna sound like hills when you say heels. So I stream my music on Tidal. I go on Tidal, I type in heels. I hit search. I scroll down. I'm a big India Ari fan. First one I saw was her. I hit it. Send it to Manip. Go ahead, man. Run with this. This is what I gave him this is what I want it to sound like. I want that Heat Makers Dipset sound.
Okay.
With the vocal sample.
Yeah.
Knocked it out the park. First beat.
Yeah, it's dope joint. Yeah.
Thank you. So you know we do. I let it go on streaming.
What made you want to do the video?
Because I felt like it had to be visual for you to get a good representation of where I'm from. They had to have a visual attached. We're just in that era anyway. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Fenelia, who did the Drug Money album with me last year. He did the video for that.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So he's doing a lot of camera work now. He's dumb nice with it, but he does this video. And you know, the response is dope. And you know, when we at the video, yo, you doing an album? You know, these motherfuckers, you're literally shooting a video for a new song, and they're already asking you for new music.
That's a good sign, though.
But it's crazy though. Like, yo, bro, let this breathe before you ask me for the next thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you know, whatever. There's 3 songs aside from Haver's song that Manip did that I had stashed, 3 beats.
Okay.
For a different project that I can't let out the bag yet, but that project is still happening. But
okay,
the other artist was, you know, very busy and just slow to get to it. So I just did them, you know, did it just on my own. We'll get to those as we go.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, what if I call Manip, yo, what if we just start another album? We'll base it around Haver's song. So 01830.
That makes perfect sense now.
On Haver's song, you know how we roll, the 01, the 8 to the 30.
Yeah.
I didn't want to call it Haver's album. I called it 01830. I said, boom, this is what we're going to do.
So sequencing is so important, man, people.
Yeah.
And so that's the perfect song to set off. Like that's basically after the intro. That's basically the introductory song to the album, but it's also where you from. So it makes perfect sense for you to sequence it and have that song being track number 2. But let me ask you about what was the process with Stay Out? You know what I'm saying? Because that joint right there is one of my favorite joints on the album.
Okay. So Stay Out was the last song I wrote. No, that's not the last song. Second to last song I recorded, but the last song was already in place, and we'll get to that. But Stay Out was the piece. This is the thing about having one producer. One producer. Manip, I need this type of beat with this energy. I need this energy. Sends me the beat. Now, shout out to my brothers, Artisan and Superstar Snuck. They're the features on the song. They're ST the Squad members. They are from Haverhill.
They was spitting.
Oh no, they get busy. We just shot this video the other day too, so that's on the way.
Okay.
So Sin and Snuck, I say that I give them the direction, right? So the concept of Stay Out is, these days I am rapping more my age. I'm big on that, right?
Yeah.
There's always I figured it out with, first of all, I am my oldest, but I'm also my best. I've never been this good at rapping in my life as I am now. So that young man's game shit is bullshit. So everything has to have meaning. Going back to the Guru and Nas influence.
Yeah.
Conceptual, have meaning, right? I'm in my 40s. I need to speak to these people in the manner of a 40-year-old man.
That's absolutely
right. So trying to get paid before the day out, prayed up. You never know how it'll play out. Pray harder. I ain't gotta let them slugs spray out. I'm trying to find a way out to stay out.
Facts.
Can't be in the street forever. I don't care what
It's got an expiration date.
You got in there.
It's got an expiration date, bro.
Exactly. Correct. So I get Sin and Snuck on board. I'm glad you brought up sequencing because I'm very big on sequencing. Right?
Yes.
When you break this out, the way I sequence my albums,
I pay attention to that.
Is like a lot of people I notice they'll put the popular features up top, or whatever songs they want to release the singles up top, and I'm like, nah, I don't do it like that. I go off the vibe, and and I do.
It need to flow. It need to flow, and I feel out of certain songs on sometimes when people sequence albums, the songs be out of place.
Correct.
Like, why is this track number 3? This should have been track number 10.
Correct. You know
what I'm saying?
Now, I'm going to show my age here again. I put it together, side A, side B. This is how I sequence my albums. So when you're going to hear it through, you're going to hear it through, but somebody who knows better is going to be like, oh, okay, this makes sense, right? So
there was a certain reason why you picked Jules Infinite after Stay Out?
Yeah, because it was time for a bar fest.
Gotcha. And you got a video for that too.
Correct. That Familiar did as well. So Jules Infinite, right? I was I bumped that mob shit.
Yeah.
Regularly. When Prodigy said, so I had to record, matter of fact, let me rewind a little bit. This is one of the ones that I had for that project with the other person. Okay. I put the first verse on it. That's all I did was put the first verse on it. He was, again, he's busy. He was quiet, whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm listening to it. It was a 24 bar verse, right?
Sheesh.
So if you know another thing about this album, there's a lot of 48 bar songs on here, which I love, right? Haver's song was 2 verses, but Stay Out is 3 verses. Jules Infinite is 2 verses, but they're 24s. So that's when you do the math, it's 3/16.
Right.
Right?
A lot of rhyming.
Exactly. So I'm listening to that shit. Nighttime Vultures, Hell on Earth.
Oh, okay.
Fluidly, my mind flooded with Jules Infinite. I said, whoa. That's it. Because you're doing, like you said, a lot of rhyming. And it's a lot of jewelry in there. I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna do that for the hook. Real short and sweet. Manip filled it with the scratches. It was beautiful.
Because that's from Hell on Earth.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. So I matched it. I put another 24 bar verse on there, and we called it a day. So I really the knock of the beat, the way that beat come in, the way that shit sound, it fit right there. But what made it fit even more was, all right, I told you, I introduced you to where I'm from.
Yep.
I gave you something conceptual. Yep. I got a bar. Now I'm gonna bar you to death.
Okay, so then the pleasure is yours. What made you make that one being the next track after the Infinite?
So when I sent you the album, I said, yo, play it in order if you could.
You did say that.
Right? So that's what it is.
I did that because I like sequencing.
This is why. So you hear how that shit flowed right in.
Yeah.
Who's Infinite finishes? Boom, it starts right on the snare of the pleasure is yours. And I come in around immediately. That's what that was about.
Okay.
That was about, for sequencing.
You want the songs to kind of connect each other.
Yeah, I try to, connect them like that. So with the pleasure is yours, it's like, it's one of them songs that I kind of had performing it in mind.
Okay.
When I heard the beat, I just had like performing it in mind. Shout out to Sky Zoo. Him and I had spoken about, we've done other songs together.
Yeah.
But he's never been on an album of mine.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him. Sky's just a great person. He was just out.
Yeah, he'll a dope dude, man. Dope MC as well.
Yeah, great MC. Great catalog. Just humble, real down to earth, real easy to
Great catalog.
Great catalog. Not spoken about enough. But he did his verse. Term did his verse. Term is my brother. But you know how they say it, be your own people.
Yeah.
Term be always trying to cannabis me. Like, dog, I asked you for 16, you want a 24, 32 bar me. I know what you're trying to do.
Right, trying to get you, dog.
But it's cool. I love that, though. I love that because I've we've been killing each other for decades already. You know what I mean?
Right, so no doubt. Y'all go way back.
So when you listen to The Pleasure Is Yours, it's like everything kind of just flows smoothly. But from a conceptual standpoint, with The Pleasure Is Yours, it was just like an arrogant record.
Yeah.
Pleasure is yours. Like,
let me ask you a question. When did you start vibing with? When did you start speaking to Sky Zoo? Was that a couple of years ago?
Sky and I have been familiar with each other for many years. Many years. But like on a more of a level where we actually like interact more often, I'd say past like maybe like 6 years. Yeah. What was around the time when he did the album that he did off the Snowfall, like the Snowfall inspired album, the Franklin Saint, the Mind of a Saint joint.
The Mind of a Saint. Okay, I remember that joint.
Yeah, right around then he came out here, he did a show, and we really clicked. And then when I dropped Drug Money last year, we did our album release party together.
Yeah,
out here in the Middle East. So that's when so Scott, and I, like I said, I've been around him many times. Always been mutual respect. Run into him at many events, at radio, all that.
Right,
and,
right.
Yeah, and when he has a very good, like, whenever he comes out here, manipulated DJs for him.
Sweet.
You know what I'm saying? So that kind of it's all aligned.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It worked out, man. I really like that song. Let me ask you this, because you're saying your mentality going to this album was side A, side B. So will Like That be considered track one of side B?
No.
Okay.
That'll be the end of side A. Cut it right. 11 tracks, but 10 songs.
I got you. Okay.
That's number 6, but that's the 5th song. You cut it
all
there.
Right.
Then I'm coming with I don't want to force him, but B in the Locks will start side B.
All right, so Like That. Talk to me about that song real quick.
So Like That. Now we're really gonna get into some Haverhill shit. My man Green Monster, Spoon Digger, they're both from Haverhill. Okay. I've known these guys many years. We've always ran into each other, and we've always showed each other respect, right? But I feel like when you're a rapper, like if you're not on the same direct team, sometimes you're kind of like a rival.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes this shit is like a lot of the people, I feel like a lot of the people around them and me maybe like we developed this like imaginary rivalry that really didn't exist. Because every time we saw each other, it was cool. So, you know, we all grown men now. So, you know, Spoon came out for the Halo song video.
Okay.
He's in the video. Boom. Rest in peace to my man Self. He was in the video too. He ended up passing away. He was real close to Spoon. So, you know, when I went to the service, Spoon and I kicked it, we chopped it up. So when I thought of naming the album 01830, Artisan and Superstar Snuck are obvious choices because they are ST the Squad. They're part of my team.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it extra Haverhill. So I tapped on a couple of the other killers from Haverhill to make it, you know. And, you know, we do have a video for this one as well that we shot at Haverhill. Phil Nair did this one as well. And it's just like everything about it, just recording the record, recording the video together. It was just a real big win for the city. You know what I'm saying? Like a big win, a big show of unity, big show, like almost burying a hatchet, even though like to me it never existed. I thought we was always cool, but sometimes people just make shit up, you know, in their own minds.
Yeah.
So like that this is as ignorant as it gets on this album.
Yeah.
So the way I thought of it, because my man Green is a completely different person. Green was a serious problem back in the day, right? I'm talking about on a street level.
Yeah, right.
This dude is like there's parallels with his story and Shine's. Put it that way.
Gotcha.
With how they turned it around. I told him, I said, yo, you got to be Green Monster on this shit though, because I wanted to capture the essence of when if we would have done it years ago. So that's how it came about.
That energy.
Yeah, that energy. So that's how it came about. And, you know, he came through. He was a little bit reluctant.
Right.
Because who he is now. But I appreciate him. Big shout out to my man, Green Monster.
Yeah, it's not always easy to refer back to who you were when you've made so many different strides to become who you are. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So let me ask you this then. So if that's the end and starting that side B is what my favorite song. I think I texted you this about a month ago.
You did.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Being the Locks.
Being the Locks. This is another one of the
better than one is Three of the Locks.
Yes, sir. This is me,
man. Like the inspiration behind that song. I know you said something earlier about taking something from, being inspired something from Jada. Because also, so how do you look at the Locks and why did you make this song? Because this is one of the ones that I'm about to start pushing, man. Because I really love this song.
The video's coming too. We about to shoot it soon.
Sweet.
Yeah. So man, I could really go. There's a lot to unpack here with this. So in regards to the sequence, right? You know this well. You know the Clue era.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the Clue tapes, and the Locks freestyle coming on.
Yeah.
That's why it's side B.
I got you.
Right? That's
how I
get it in my mind.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? So this is one of the beats that I presented to the other artists, and he rejected it. So I'm like,
that's a dope beat, man.
But in my mind, I'm like, yo, he was like, yo, it's not hitting me right now. Maybe later it will. I'm like, all right, cool. Now that was the best thing that ever happened. Because I had to be all the Locks.
Yeah.
It couldn't have, there's no feature, and that's needed on this one. So I just keep playing this beat. I sat with it and I'm like, yo, where am I gonna go with this shit, bro? Right? I've always been a Locks fanatic.
Right.
I always say I'm the biggest Locks fan alive. Right? And where I like I say, I always say, like, as a joke, but not as a joke, I bit Jadakiss's flow 1,000 times. But it's like where I would do like direct homage to Mobb Deep. I never did that for the Locks. Boom. But that's not what I was thinking of.
Right.
I was listening to Recognize. 2 is better than 1. It's 3 of the Locks. Styles P on that record. So it didn't even hit me when I heard it. It hit me.
Have they heard that joint?
I don't know. I don't think so. But they gonna, when this video drops, we're gonna make sure that
we go. Hey, I want you to.
We're gonna spam them motherfuckers, dog.
Yeah, we're going down. And I'm part of that. I'm gonna be part of that promotion team, Playboy.
Yes, sir. So it hit me when I got out the car and I started walking into the gym, and I just said, you know, it's just me rapping it. Acapella 2 is better than 1. It's 3 of the locks, whatever. Then I paused for a minute. I remember when I used to want to be in the locks. Oh shit. I'm like, yo. So the beauty of it was, right, and we kind of skipped over this, where Stay Out, 48 bars, Jewels Infinite, 48 bars, Pleasure Is Yours. It's more than 48 bars because term, but it's, you know, 48 bars.
Trying to get you, I got you.
Like that, it's 48 bars. You got 3 verses on it. I say, yo, this is perfect. I could do the same shit on here. So when I did that, you know, my team is ST dot. Now I rep ST to the dot. It was just, the hook was a fucking, by the time I walked, I thought of it when I was halfway to the door. By the time I scanned the shit and got to where I was lifting, the hook was ready. That's how much of a layup it was. And I'm like, yo, this is how I'm gonna do the verses. I'm gonna do Jada, I'm gonna do Styles, I'm gonna do Chic.
It's funny. It's funny you said, like, after I listened to your joint again, I think yesterday, it made me go back on YouTube, but listen to that Santorina freestyle with the locks, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of other freestyles with the locks too, man. And it's like, I can see the influence too, man. But yeah, they probably, to a degree, at least up to the verses, kind of underrated a little bit as a crew. You know what I'm saying? Like they really don't have any bad bars.
I feel like they've always been a bit underrated, but they're like, when you're part of so many legendary moments, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you always in the mix, it's hard to overlook completely, you know? So when you listen to Be in the Locks, in essence, those are just freestyle raps. It just happens to be, the concept is I'm giving flowers to the locks. So I said, my first bar and last bar of every verse is going to be from a bar from, you know, each member.
Yeah. Very creative, man. Very creative, man. When I ran the album first time when you sent it to me, I liked the whole thing. Like I told you, if I don't, I'd be honest, you know, that's how I am. But obviously I like the project, but that was the one for me. When I text you, I said, man, that joint right there on repeat. I was commuting to work to one of my offices, and I was like, I liked the album, but I just kept going back to that. First of all, I love the locks too, but I kept on playing that song, and I was like, man, we got to make sure they hear this joint. That's what I was thinking. Because I think I said something to you about that when I text you, but I was just like, damn, we got to make sure they hear this song.
You said to me, we got to push this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fact. I'm going to do it with you, bro. We got to push that song. So and not even just the locks. I want a lot of other hip hop heads who love the locks to hear this song, because I've never really heard a dedicated song to them. You'll hear a dedicated song when somebody do a song, you know, when Kendrick might have did Man of the Garden, or, you know, you got him doing Reincarnated for Pop, even though he ain't say Pop. We know it's Pop. You know, certain artists have done these songs, but people say they love the locks, man. But that was the first time I heard somebody really use in that fashion the way you did with that song. And I was like, man, I think that, because them cats are hip hop heads too. And I think that when people like them hear that, they will really appreciate that song, man, because they're hip hop heads before they're anything else. You know what I'm saying? But so You Can Have It came after.
Hold on, I want to go back.
No, go ahead. Absolutely, go.
You know, the details.
Yeah.
At the end of the first verse, the Jada laugh. At the end of this, you know, you can hear the Styles P at the end of the second verse, you know, little details. But yo, the funny thing was, from anyone who, like, up until, like, you know, the release date, anybody who I let hear the album ahead of time, that one got the best response, and that was the one that I was most skeptical about.
Why is that?
I'm gonna tell you why, because I'm like, yo, are people gonna get it?
Right.
Are they gonna get, like, because, you know, a lot of these people, they don't know Jadakiss said, let y'all know everything is all real. That's what I always love Big Papa. A lot of people don't know that, right? They don't know Chic said, I pump up, get big, walk through the party jig. A lot of people don't know that.
Doubt.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, are they gonna get this first of all? Is it gonna just sound random that I'm shouting the locks on the hook? You know what I'm saying? So I thought the shit was knocking off rip, me personally. But you know, that this is just that's just how music works, man. You just never know. You never know.
Man. You never know, man. And that's the great thing about music. A lot of times it's the songs and stuff that artists don't think gonna pop off, and that's the one that people really enjoy and push. And then the ones sometimes artists think this is the one. It don't end up being the one. It'll be the unlikely one that the reception is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Now, me personally, I thought this one stood out, the creativity and stuff like that, man. So yeah, man, we're gonna definitely do that, man. But if you don't have anything else on that joint, man, then you can have it. What was the thought process behind that joint and coming after that Locks joint?
Yeah. So ironically, I had sent a 6-pack of hooks to Styles P.
Okay.
And You Can Have It was one of them.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I say on the hook, I'm trying to find peace, do my thing with this rap shit. It was originally, I'm trying to sell juice, do my thing with this rap shit. Because he's always saying, yo, I'm just trying to sell juice.
Yeah.
But that's just funny how those kind of like, I never really thought of that.
That is funny.
So You Can Have It, when you listen to it, it's low key about being a failed rapper. And like, I took a very humble approach, right? It's like, you know, that shit, that depth. Sometimes you gotta show that. I feel like that's you know, a lot of the best, they do that. You know, they dig deep. You know what I'm saying? And most, you know, MCing is very arrogant. It's very braggadocio. I would say most of, if not all, MCs wouldn't take this approach to a record. So, very humble approach, and when you listen to it, you know, like I said, it's low key about being a failed rapper. But you know, at the end of the day, I pretty much sum it up like, I'm not tripping. It's like, you know, shit. I'm trying to think of what I said. My bad.
Oh, that's cool.
I pretty much say like that. Oh shit. My bad.
Oh no, you good, man.
There's a lot of shit I say in regards to it's okay
to not pop off, basically.
Yeah, you know, like I'm not, you know, I'm thankful not to be a statistic. And then I said, you know, might be for the better because ain't no help here. I just seen a pioneer have a health scare with no health care. I got health care.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt. So it really wasn't that bad.
Okay, so now it came to me. The fact remained that I've accepted the lane that I selected because I don't need fame to be respected. I'm not a famous rapper, but anyone who knows me fucks with me.
You can go.
Nice, right? So it's like failed or underrated, however y'all would put it. Did I miss my calling or did I dodge a bullet? You know, because, you know, like, yo, what people don't understand, a lot of their favorite rappers are broke, bro.
Absolutely.
A lot of their favorite rappers have nothing to show for life. And that's not shitting on nobody. That's just the truth. You know, I'm fortunate to have, you know, to make a decent living and have an annuity and a pension. Like, you know, when you go back to Jules Infinite.
Yeah.
What did I say on Jules Infinite? I said, rap and sell drugs, those are worse professions. You don't think about your future when you first select them.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? That time run out. Yeah. That time run out. Oh, you see a lot of the pioneers, they're unhealthy. You brought
it all back home, man. And at the end of the day, when we talk about this track right here, if you're respected by other great MCs or dope MCs or whatever, hear you and say, hey, your projects are dope, you're a dope, you're not a failure. Because stream sales, all that shit is all relative, man. You know what I'm saying? Some of the greatest MCs of all time didn't sell a bunch of records, and some of the great ones right now not getting all these streams like somebody who got some commercial or pop stuff. So to me, none of that matters. It's all about, do your peers respect you? When you got people like Sky Zoo and Status Selector and DJ Premier and all them saying, yo, Easy is one of them ones, he's dope. That means you're already successful.
Yeah. And you know, it's hard it's hard to like, you know, there's always people, you know, and I don't when people tell me that they don't think I'm good, it doesn't bother me at all. Just because, you know, there's people who say that Biggie Smalls is whack. Right?
That's facts.
There's people that say Jay-Z's whack. So there's gonna be a lot of people that say Easy Money's whack. So that's whatever. That doesn't bother me. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, everyone's entitled to it. I respect everyone's opinion for the simple fact that they're entitled to it. Whether it holds any value to me is another conversation.
That's exactly right.
Nobody is telling me, yo, you trash, when, you know, Premier and Tony Touch and Large Professor tell me I'm nice.
Right.
What you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to care about these other guys. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know what? And that's the perfect thing. And I'll repeat just real quick what I said on PSA Reload the other day. Somebody on Twitter can say, "Oh man, Tony the Dome don't know nothing about hip hop." But you know who think I know about hip hop? Chuck D do. And I got his number on my phone. So when Chuck D tell me I rock with you, man, I appreciate what you do. I'm watching you. I'm cool, bro. Everybody else, any other platform, anybody else on Twitter who can say I don't rock with Tony, that's okay, because Chuck D does.
Yeah.
Somebody I grew up idolizing and watching in high school and junior high. I'm good, bro. And I ain't trying to say, you know what, I'm just saying, for example,
no, but that's what matters.
Point, somebody can say you are whack, but Large Professor said you're not. So that's what matters.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to give a fuck about, you know, rest in peace, K Slade. When I went and did K Slade's show and I rhymed live on air, he told Term, yo, we might have to have him back. And he did.
That's K Slade. And rest in peace, that's K Slade.
K Slade, you know, like
a hip hop head, hip hop legend in the streets.
You know, when Tony Touch dropped the Peacemaker 3, and I went up in there and I rapped after Black Thought rapped for 5 minutes straight, mind you. And Tony Touch came to me, say, yo, you smoked that. And Sean Price, rest in peace, came to me, say, yo, you caught a body. Like,
word. So
why do I care about what anyone else is thinking? You know what I mean? Like, why do I care? You know what I'm
saying? You did your job, bro. Exactly. Those kind of guys, rest in peace, the ones who are not here anymore, they took this craft serious.
Exactly.
You know, Sean P took it serious, bro. He wasn't no joke on the mic.
Absolutely. And you know, and he was very vocal about when he wasn't feeling shit. Very vocal. You know,
it don't matter what platform interview he was on, he'd be like, yeah, I don't like it.
Exactly. So, you know, it's just, you know, like I said, you're entitled to your opinion, and I respect it simply for the fact that you're entitled to like what you like. But whether I value your opinion or not is another conversation. That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a fact, man. That sense of urgency, bro.
Yeah. So sense of urgency is just one of them joints. I'm like, yo, I got to do something more directed to the ladies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes. What? Yeah.
I had to do, but I really love, you know, like that whole scratch thing. That was Manip right there. That was Manip. And even like the hook part was on Drug Money. I had a song called Doing the Most. And I took my hook part from my verse on there. And then Manip, you know, filled it in with the scratches. But I wanted to do something directed to the women because I just feel like every good hip hop album should.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, man, because you're making me think now. Almost not all, but a lot of great albums has something the ladies can rock to. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially the ones that end up having crossover appeal. Even, you know, Biggie had One More Chance. Jay had Ain't No Nigga, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you got an album like Illmatic don't have enough for the women.
Yeah.
But most of the ones, you know what I'm saying? And of course, the Underground, the De La Souls and Tribe, they wouldn't. But the big joints, the Get Rich or Die Trying got 21 Questions, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, T.I. got joints for the ladies, man. Like, a lot of the big MCs, man.
All the LL Cool J.
We already know, you know.
We just talked about Big Pun. Fat Joe crossed over with What's Love.
What's Love?
You know what I'm saying?
And what Pun had?
Still Not a Player.
Still Not a Player. You know what I'm saying? So and he's a street MC. You know what I'm saying? Man. So yeah, you do need that, man. Look, Hood Season freestyle.
Hoodie Season.
Hoodie Season. I'm sorry, Hoodie Season. Why'd you call it that?
So I wanted to do something that was just a freestyle, just because I'm from that Locks era. You know, I really wanted to incorporate freestyle with the album. I just felt it was necessary. And I just wanted something that was like no hook, a straight verse.
Was this your version of, like, for example, when I think about Illmatic and Nas, One Time for Your Mind, when he kind of just rhyming?
Yeah. Yeah, you could call it that. You could call it that. You could definitely call it that. You can call it my version of Jadakiss's Feel Me.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Feel Me.
You can call it that.
Was that on Jay? Was that on Kiss' first album?
He has Feel Me and Still Feel Me.
And Still Feel Me.
You got two. So, you know, you can
Feel
call
Me
it
is
that.
the first one that was back on. It was a video for that one.
First album. They both got videos, real low budget.
I had to go back and look at the second one. I remember the
Alchemist
first
did them
video.
both.
Huh?
Alchemist did both of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, you know, with Hoodie Season, you know, it was one of them things, you know, and that's another sample that I gave to Manipulator. It's a Brian McKnight record, you know what I mean? That Alicia Keys remade. You know what I'm saying? So I gave him that shit. I said, yo, just cook this up. I just felt like it was it was likable and simple enough just for me to talk some shit on. But, you know, the content is very mature.
Yeah.
You know, when it's like, you know, whole time my perspective and fuck, like, you know, when I think of the cash saved, the mortgage and gas paid, some people will kill to live one of my bad days. My children healthy when it's innocent kids who catch strays. I need to start to look at it that way. You know, like these are things that unfortunately are uncool to rap about. And that's just, you know
what, though? But let me say this. You said something earlier in this conversation when you say, okay, now I'm in my 40s, I need to rap like that. Mm-hmm. So, you know, so those are the messages now. Same way when I think about some of them King Disease albums with Nas, like, yo, he not talking about drop the ancient manifest, the hip hop off the block no more. He's saying, yo, these stocks, you know what I'm saying? This is 401k, this is investment.
Bitcoin and shit like that. He talking all that type of shit.
Absolutely. So we supposed to, there's artists to talk to their generation or their age bracket. Then there's different steps and layers now. At a certain age, your rhymes should reflect your life.
Correct.
Now, when you was younger and you was getting some trouble in the streets a little bit, your rhymes gonna reflect that. You know what I'm saying? And now you're saying, hey man, I got a pension, man, I got a career and I'm rhyming, I'm doing all this. Then you should be talking about that, inspiring another person who about to be where you at to make sure they get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so that's all important.
There's a very conscious effort to make it mature, but still street relatable, right? Because
that balance,
correct. And it's like, I feel like that's the word right there. Balance in general is
a fact.
Well, every good album has balance, right?
That's a fact.
Different pockets, different topics and all that. I just feel like in general, when I'm rhyming, I wanted to appeal to, you know, the demographic that I'm aiming at, but you know, it has to reflect my age as well.
So let me say this now, bro, because now we get down to what I always say, and I tweeted about this the other day, and often I talk about the way you end an album. You know what I'm saying? I think about when I heard the Auditorium with Common and Pete Rock, and he had that song Now and Then. You know what I'm saying? When I think about It's Your World on B, when I think about North Star on Cuban Links, you know, when I think about certain song, it ain't hard to tell. Whatever the case may be, you must love. I mean, not use regrets on Reasonable Doubt. It's important to end the album strong.
You Must Love Me was closer.
Well, yeah, okay. So no doubt, that's right. Volume 1, right? So when you think about how it leaves a impression on the journey, because the album is a journey to me of that person's life, where they are at that time is the way I like to look at it. And that last track summarizes where you are right now, some feelings, man. When I listen to your last track, I want you to pronounce it. I don't want to disrespect, because I think it's about your grandmother or a loved one.
Correct.
And what is that name of that song called? I want you to pronounce it for me.
It's called La Lluvia. And what that means is the rain in Spanish.
That's why I want you to
say it. If I would have called it the rain and you would have typed it in your search bar, you would have had 1,000 fucking songs come up.
You would have.
So, you know, big shout to Mass Pike Miles. A lot of people, you know, they know Miles from he was with Maybach Music. He's a Boston cat though.
Okay.
He was signed to Ross for some time. He did cigar music for Ross.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, he did that joint. So that Miles, my man. So
that's a dope joint right there.
Interestingly enough, that was one of the ones that I had in the tuck. The beat and the hook. Miles did the hook and everything. And I was gonna do
what?
it with,
you had that?
I was sitting on it. So check this out. My grandmother suffered from the rest in peace to my grandmother, first and foremost.
Rest in peace, no doubt.
So she suffered from dementia for many years. Right. So we lost her January 14th this past year. I mean,
this past year.
Yes, we just a couple months. It's going on 3 months already. Wow, flies crazy.
Oh, this year?
Yes, correct.
Man, blessings, brother. Yeah.
Thank you. So you know the entire album is dedicated to her memory. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I was sitting on this shit, and when I sent the beat to Miles, I said to him, "Now, mind you, we didn't know my grandmother was dying. This is months ago. I was sitting on this for months, and I'm supposed to do this with somebody else, not just
gotcha.
me." I said, "Miles, put some pain on this shit, but make that shit fly. That Mass Pike Miles shit." Says it back to me. I'm like, wow. Right.
Yeah.
When you listen to the bridge, he says,
that's my second favorite song on the album. Go ahead.
I trace your name in the fog of my window. He says, that's crazy. That's hard. So, you know, like, so he sends me the shit and I'm sitting on it. And the shit is so fire, right? That I'm just waiting for, you know, homie to just, you know, come around so we can get to it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, fast forward, my aunt sends us a text and she says, yo, you know, they're suggesting hospice for my grandmother. Now, mind you, she's been in a nursing home for years. She's deteriorating. She's suffering. She doesn't recognize anybody.
Yeah.
She's not eating. You know what I'm saying? You know, all that shit that come with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know.
So I'm like, damn. Now, did I ever want to write this song? Fuck no. Right? I never even entertained the thought of writing the song, no matter what, you know, no matter at what point she was at. So when this shit happens, I'm like, damn. So now I'm just going through beats and I'm listening to this shit and I'm like, oh shit. I think this is my sign right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I come up with the first verse. Boom, I'm like, all right, cool, we're gonna do this shit. I lay the first verse down in the studio. The second, I'm in the middle of mixing and mastering the album. I have no second verse. There's no second verse for this song. I told my engineer Bob, I said, yo, give me a couple minutes. He goes, you're gonna write this right now? I said, yeah. He's like, you're gonna put yourself in that space right now? I said, yeah, watch me, I'm the best. So I just cooked it up. I had to, it was crunch time. Cooked it up, I put it down. So you know, damn. Yeah, whatever. I could share it. So the album, you know, she passed away. The album dropped March 20th. She passed away January 14th. So, you know, I'm sitting on the song for a little bit. So, you know, at her service, I carried her. So, you know, after the service, everybody leaves. The 6 to 8 people who carry her stay. So, you know what? You know, they ask everybody if they want to speak. And I didn't want to do it because I didn't want anybody to feel like I was making it about me. So I waited for everybody to leave. And it was me, my 2 uncles, my brother, and a couple of my cousins. I said, yo, come on, let's go see her real quick. Sat there and I played it for her on the phone. At the service, I played it for her. And I was like, yeah. It just like, I was beside myself, but
yes,
it just felt right, bro. It just felt like
that's deep, bro.
I got her to hear it, so the whole album, the entire album is dedicated to her memory. She's, she was everybody's favorite person.
Yeah.
But, and like you said, it was the perfect closer. Perfect closer because, me just building the album around home. It doesn't get more personal than that. It was only
that's a fact.
It was the only place for it. You know what I'm saying? It was like she to me deserved. I even said it. I wrote a song because your life is worth more than a post.
Yeah.
She deserves something that would live forever. You understand what I'm saying? So that was another reason, but it had to be this album.
You know why I think gotta be that, and I ain't gonna put the words in your mouth, but what I was thinking when you were speaking just now was this a personal album for you, and to have track number 2 is about Havers Hill, right? Where you're from. Okay, that's where you're from, right? But also having the last song on here about your grandmother, that's where you're from also.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. Now, the other thing too that ties everything together is when you look at this artwork, right? On the front of the album, 01830, on the front cover, there's all Haverhill, staples of Haverhill landscapes. Couple basketball courts that I grew up playing ball. The bodega that's still there to this day. The sub shop, the popular sub shop. The statue in Lafayette Square. On the back with my track list on Bartlett Street, there's a 4-family home that the majority of my life, my family occupied. I'm talking about an aunt upstairs, another aunt across the hall, my grandmother downstairs, and another aunt across the hall.
Yeah.
And that's what my track list is on top of, the image of that place.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It had to be.
So it's a personable album.
It had to be. It had to be.
It makes sense.
So many people telling me like, yo, this might be your best work.
Is this one of your most proud albums?
What was that?
Is this one of your most proud albums?
Yeah, it has to be, because it's my latest. Because everybody say, what's your best album? Or I haven't recorded it yet. It's the next one. Right? So you got to feel like your latest is always your best. You know what I'm saying?
What was your grandmother's dedication song one of the hardest songs you've ever written?
It was hard. Man, how do I say this without sounding like too full of myself? Rapping comes very easy to me, Tone.
Right.
Very easy. I haven't written a rhyme on paper in 25 years. I'm talking about all those freestyles and 40, 50 bar clips all up here. And that's not 4 bars punch in, 4 bars punch in. That's live. That's live radio, bro. You see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen it more than once.
Anyone on my team, anyone who's around me is, can testify to that. It's not something I make up. So it's like rapping is not difficult, but it was more like, damn, I can't believe I'm writing this shit.
Okay, that's what I mean.
It was difficult in that sense, and it was like difficult in a sense of like, yo, when my family members hear this, they're gonna rock with it. You know what I mean? Just because
it's touchy.
Correct, and it's like they're not even hip hop heads like that, but it's just a different skepticism. Right? When I send it to you, I'm like, yo, this shit it's all in place. He's gonna appreciate, like the sequence. He's gonna appreciate the production, yada 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 yada. At the end of the day, you're gonna like what you like. But with them, they don't. It's not about none of that shit with them. They're just hearing it and they're like, oh, they're gonna like it. Are they gonna think, oh, why is he using her to promote his music? Some people be making up.
Yeah, because you never know, somebody else have an angle thinking you got an angle. It's like I'm trying to show dedication and love, and you think I'm trying to do it on some selfishness type thing or with some kind of agenda outside of just showing love to our grandmother. You know what I'm saying?
However, anyone who's heard it loves it.
Absolutely, man. 01830, man. It's a dope album, man. And we're gonna push that thing. We can't wait for that Locks joint to pop off in your other videos, man. But look, man, just real quick, man, before we even get out of here, there's a couple of current events. I thought about you today. Like, me and Easy gonna talk tonight. It's been a lot of stuff going on Twitter because of J. Cole, real quick. I want to know your thoughts on his interviews right now and it's been catching either on one end, some people really love it. Some on the other end, some people really saying all of this negative stuff about J. Cole, and I'm just kind of like I don't understand the drama. But what's your take on?
So I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm a little out the loop. You got to fill me in a little bit.
So I mean, J. Cole right now is on a interview tour, which is fine because he promoting his album. He did a great job with.
As he should be.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, of course, he was when the Fall Off first came out. He was doing his trunk sales, basically going all over with his homies in the old car he used to have back in college and high school. And I thought that was real dope. And thousands of people everywhere he went was there because real life is not X, right? Real life is not the internet, right? So J. Cole, right. But you know, he just did a video, podcast of Lost in Vegas yesterday, I believe, and then he did. Of course, Carmelo Anthony joint and a few other joints, and it's like he was explaining his own perspective about just everything in general, but nothing he can say is acceptable to some people because they still stuck on the rap battle. We get it. He bailed out. He didn't want to do that, and then him explaining other things the way he explained it. It's just not. Some people hate what he said. I personally said, man, you know what? I'm not mad at him. He said what he said. He spoke his truth. I feel like he's a truthful person, whether you like his answers or not. I feel like he was honest in his interviews, and I left it alone and say, hey, I just want to hear the music now. I don't care about the drama.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say something. In general, this is in general. You know, we could remove Cole from the whole shit.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I don't obsess over celebrities.
Thank
right?
you.
They don't know that I exist, right? So I don't give a fuck, right? When I listen to the Fall Off, I'm like, yo, this nigga's nice still.
Me too.
Right? When all right, now we'll rewind a little bit. You know, you called people to the yard and you ran. That's not it.
That's not it. We admit that's not it.
I'm not of that cloth. I don't agree with that. I just don't think that was cultural of him.
It was.
You know what I'm saying? However, am I gonna hang him by that forever if he makes good music? No. At the end of the day, bro, he had his reasons for doing what he did, whether I agree with it or not. If the shit sound good, it sound good, right? A lot of you motherfuckers out there, right, saw R. Kelly do what he did, and y'all secretly listen to his shit, and you don't use that same logic for that. And you say because it sound good, it does sound
make sense.
You understand what I'm saying? And that is far more extreme than anything J. Cole's done, right? I've seen some people say, why is J. Cole acting broke? Why is he charging people for his album? And I'm like, what is the difference? He could sell 500,000 CDs online if he wanted to do a website.
Absolutely.
The added incentive for the fan to take the CD from his hand. That's a dream come true for most people.
They loved it. I watched some of the vlogs, man. He went to a lot of HBCUs and everything, and those fans and those kids, man, them college kids, some of them, that was their favorite rapper.
You know I don't understand why people like.
It's a beautiful thing.
When you're a miserable person, Tone, the success and happiness of other people just bothers you, bro. It just bothers you. They wanted to see him. Yeah. He ducked from a battle. We hope he fucking flops. It's not that simple, bro. Right?
And it's not that deep.
People think Drake is completely finished. Go check the streaming numbers, bro.
Yeah.
Your math ain't mathing. It's like, yo, relax, man. Like, stop taking this shit. Like, we to an extent, we take hip hop culture to heart, right?
We do.
People make it too personal. Like, yo, relax. Bro.
You can take it to heart and not take it to a point where, you know what I'm saying, you almost wishing ill on somebody. You know what I'm saying?
That shit is weird to me.
But you know, I'm gonna tell you this too, though, Easy. And I said this today on Twitter too. Now, music discourse is being hurt by views. People now want views so bad. There's a lot of performative BS going on right now. And I've even had 2 or 3 other big so-called big platforms who know me, and I've been on some of their show, come at me kind of sideways because they don't like my discourse on J. Cole. And I'm like, I love music first. Okay, I understand the battle. I understand hip hop. I know that he decided to back out of a thing. I know that we said that was not cool. Okay, we've established that already. Now I want to hear some music. Okay, I can't keep. Why am I still talking about a battle that happened a long time ago now? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm worried about. Did he make some songs that I enjoyed on the follow? Absolutely. That's what I'm listening to. And I'm not listening to it worrying about why he didn't battle K-Dot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a shit. It's not that deep to me, but people want views so bad. I get it. A lot of business people, some people want to go viral. They want to get views and stuff on YouTube and all this stuff. I like authentic conversation. So I'm not gonna make nothing up. So 10,000 people can watch a video. If 200 people watching this authentic and they really robbing me, I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays it's so performative with this J. Cole thing recently.
You are a man of integrity, Tone. You're a man of integrity.
That's what I appreciate it, man. And I try to be, and I try to give flowers more than this. And people know me for 200 different tweets about flowers and people in every genre of music saying, well, I want to give your flowers tonight because I'm not about tearing people down every time I'm tweeting, bro. I'm like, all right, man, we disagree with what someone did, for example. And I'm saying, I would say this about any MC because I've also heard people come back at me and say, yo, you saying that because J. Cole, North Carolina. It ain't got shit to do with him being from North Carolina and me being from North Carolina. I'm just more as a hip-hop head since Run DMC, you know what I'm saying? I'm past a mistake and now I want to hear good music.
Listen, I'm not from North Carolina, right? And I'll say this. Which rapper right now of the stature of J. Cole is saying, yo, Clue, I want to do some Clue shit on a mixtape.
For real, some 90s Clue shit.
Who's doing that?
Oh, not only just that easy.
Of his caliber. Hold on. What rapper of his caliber is hopping in the Civic and going and selling his CDs hand to hand? He's not no tough guy neither.
With the people.
He's not no tough guy neither.
No,
he don't present himself like you know what I'm saying? So you gotta think, you know, he's scared. He's scared. No, he's not. He's in the streets.
Yeah.
He ain't want to battle. You could say he's scared for, he was scared there, but he's in the streets. Y'all don't even leave your crib. Y'all be in your bedroom, Twitter fingers all day.
The dude also stopping at gas stations everywhere, everything, just talking to regular people because you know what? When you don't give a fake tough guy persona, even street dudes be like, nah, dude, cool, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you ain't even got that energy to even make somebody feel like they need to challenge you. You just a cool, laid back, regular cat. So he ain't wearing jewelry, he ain't doing nothing. So he good on a college campus or in the hood. People don't even understand the hood. People like us that's from this stuff, we understand cats like J. Cole can go to the hood, dog, and people will embrace him and protect him. Be like, nah, that's cold, my G, chill. I know this. I'm 50. I'm from the hood. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, we will protect a cat like Cole.
Yes, sir.
But so you got all these internet gangsters.
My bottom line is this. This goes for J. Cole. This goes for anybody.
Internet tough guys,
man. Is he rapping good?
Yep.
All right. Right. And I'm gonna say something. And this is also the most disappointing part of him backing out of the battle. Off rip. From the beginning, you got your big three. I have always personally said, of the three, the best pure rapper is J. Cole. I think, and I'm not one that says Drake can't rap. Drake can rap.
He can rap.
Kendrick Lamar can rap, right? So I've always said J. Cole of that triangle right there is, like I said, pure rapping. He don't got better albums than Kendrick. He don't got bigger singles, more range than Drake, whatever. Just bars. He's the guy that I want to hear on that Clue shit of those three.
Not mad at that at all, man.
And that was the most disappointing part. Because you are completely capable of cooking these niggas. What are you doing?
Man, and I get it, and I think being talented is the gift and the curse because of something. If he was semi-whack, you'd be like, yeah, I can see why that nigga ran because you ain't really that good. J. Cole is that good. You know what I'm saying?
He is that good.
He can rap.
That's my opinion, bro. Like my opinion
is he can rap side by side with anybody.
I think he's an excellent rapper. Like I can't take that from nobody, regardless how I feel about backing out of a battle. Like I said, that shit is fucking almost blasphemy when you're cut from a certain cloth. But to say he can't rap is just not true, bro. Both it's you are a great rapper and you duck smoke. Both can be true.
Both can be true. And it's okay.
And it's okay. And I'm gonna listen to the fall off again.
Yeah. So finally now, last thing I want to bring up, man, and get your thoughts on. I went back, I think yesterday, and watched your Light Years freestyle when you was rhyming over all the beats from Nas and Premier's Light Years album. What made you do that, man? And what's your thoughts? I don't know, man. You talked since it came out about the album, man. Why you do that with those beats? And then what is your thoughts now after all the hype and smoke and all the stuff is gone, and now you can listen to it and with an open ear without all the distract? What's your thoughts on the Light Years Nas album, and why did you do that freestyle?
I'm gonna say what I've always said about the album. That album is aimed at a particular demographic of a particular age, and if it's not for you, it's okay. But that tells me everything I need to know. When you call yourself hip hop, I'm kind of questioning it if you're trashing it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like, and I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses for anybody, but facts are facts, right? People want to hear Premier 30 years later make 10 Crack Commandments, and Nas is like, yo, the way shit is now with sampling, and when you're that major, you can't do it. You can't get away with it, bro. So like, what was it? Marco Polo did like compositions on there. There's like 3 or 4 joints that Marco Polo did. Like he's finding ways around.
You have to now.
Because what happens is if he does it, you're not gonna hear it anyway.
They're gonna shut it down.
Or he's not gonna be, rightfully compensated for his art. Yeah. Right. So it's like this, man. Like, I feel like when cats hear, oh, he didn't sample a record, is that boom bap Avenger shit I be talking about.
Yeah, I know.
It's not hip. Yo, bro, relax, man.
You know what I
love the album. Couple misses on there, sure thing. But yo, when you hear shit like pause tapes and writers back to back, like, yo, don't get more hip hop than that, bro.
Listen, I'm so glad you said that because last month and 2 months ago I had Crisis on the podcast, and Crisis being a producer we did a whole little segment about pause tapes, and he was breaking that joint down, and Crisis said, man, that's as premier as you're gonna get. That was he said. He was just breaking
what I'm trying to say about people are exposing how hip hop they're now.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's at the end of the day, like I always say, yo, like what you like, bro.
But, so what about the freestyle though? When you did the freestyle though, what inspired you to just like, yo, just want to rhyme on the beats?
That's that like I keep going back to the Clue Locks era, man. I wanted to get my shit off on something. So I'm like, yo, I had hit Static, and I was like, yo, you got any of these instrumentals? And he's like, nah. So I'm like, fuck. Then I'm like, YouTube. I go on YouTube. So I hit Term, and I'm like, yo, Term, I got this idea, whatever. He goes, yo, it's crazy. He's like, yo, do yourself a favor and send those instrumentals to Static, because Static's ear.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, make sure that they're official. Because sometimes they'll AI the shit. Yo, you telling me? I'm like, what? It's so crazy. So I hit Static. I'm like, yo, shit, you know, he's like, yo, this sounds pretty good. I said, yo, can you Static mix them for me? I said, I'm trying to do like an exclusive for your show. You know what I mean? Type shit. So he debuted it.
Okay, gotcha.
Whatever, you know what I mean? But you know, like I said, it's a very visual era that we're in. So I had to do a video for it too. You know, part of my Money Bar Mondays series. Yeah. And it was just like, it was also me showing my appreciation for the album. Cause fuck y'all, that shit's fire. Type shit.
Hey, look,
you know what I mean?
It's fire to me too. You know what I'm saying? Like
I love it, man. And it's like, you know, like, you know what it is though, Tone? Comparison really is a thief of joy, because it's like, you know, he can't do no right. Like y'all been begging for another Illmatic for 30 years and you just got it and you're still complaining.
Still complaining.
You understand what I'm saying? Like you want him to call it Illmatic 2 so you can complain before it even drops because he called it Illmatic 2. Like, yo, relax, bro. Then it's like, complain about Hit Boy, you get Premiere, you complain about Premiere. You don't want to like Nas. Just say that. You don't want to like Premiere.
Absolutely, man. You know, I think there's a lot of rap fans posing as hip hop heads. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a real thing.
Hip hop is the wave, and you know, people just riding the wave. Then they're not real fans; they just riding the wave.
They ride a wave. It's a social. It's just a social thing for them. It's not a real love thing. That's why I like to talk to people like you, because I want to talk to people that really love the actual culture, man. You know what I'm saying? And not just some performer to see, oh, let me do some shock value to get my name out there. My name got out there one because on shock value, I tweet the exact same way I tweeted the last 12 years. Anybody follow me know that I retweet my old shit all the time. Like, I'm very consistent, but there are going to be people going to say, hey, you just saying something to get attention. No, some of us don't do that. We actually speak what we really think. And if that take off, it do. If it don't, it don't. I could give a shit about that. I got a whole life outside of when I log off Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Same as you, but a lot of people don't, man. But look, bro, right? Where can they find all the links, man? I'm gonna put the links and stuff like that anyway. But where can they find the album, man? And you know your social media handles, man. Like, for my people that rock with Tone the Dome, please check my man Easy Money out, man. For real, check him out tonight.
I appreciate you, Tone, a lot. I'm at EasyMoneyST everywhere. Subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. This new album is I'm very happy with it. The response has been great. You know, we don't got no big machine. We don't got no big marketing budget. But you know what we do have is infinite love and respect for the culture. And I'm always gonna present myself and my art like I have I'm going to present it like I have a big budget, even though I don't, because it deserves that type of respect. And, you know, my brand, I'm always going to present my brand in that manner. You know what I'm saying? So anybody who rock with me, I appreciate y'all. And if you're just getting on board, hope you like it, man. Send me a tweet, something, tell me you fuck with it, tell me you don't. You know, it's all good. But the catalog is pretty extensive as well. So, you know, my shit streams everywhere. Just make sure when you type in Easy Money, you put the $ in there so you get the right one. And I got a link tree. You can go on the link tree, Easy Money ST as well. Everything is there. Yeah, check it out.
No doubt, we're gonna push this joint. We're also gonna push that locks joint. You know, we're gonna get that joint in the hands and ears,
you got me hyped, man. For that, I gotta get that shit done.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna get it in the hands and the ears of Jada Styles and Sheik, man. Episode 98, Dome Podcast. Well, man, Easy Money. We out of here. Peace,
Sir.